Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Who doesn't have a copy?
I don't.
Yet?
I don't.
Lord, there you go. That has my keto haiku that I wrote.
Oh, you gotta read it.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
All right. I don't have to read it. I've written it enough, but okay. You guys know what a haiku is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, bacon, cheese, butter. And don't forget the veggies, but oh man, bacon. Bacon. No, they're not. Okay, so we're talking about how to stay motivated this morning, right? Honestly, raise your hand if you've had trouble with this along your journey of staying motivated. Good. Okay, good. So, I don't have any secrets that you guys don't have access to, but I think a lot of times, at least in my experience in my life, when I was a younger man, you could tell me something and I'd be like, yeah, whatever, okay, blah, 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 whatever, right? But then as you get older, you start to, you listen and you re-hear things and you hear it with fresh ears, don't you? You're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea actually. So try to have fresh ears this morning. Try to hear this for the very first time this morning, and I think that'll help you make these permanent strategies in your journey, because we're all on this journey together, right?
Right.
I mean, back in 2003, I was a fat, miserable, pre-diabetic doctor who was going into my patients' rooms and saying, hey, you're pre-diabetic. You need to eat the American Diabetic Association diet. That's what you need to do. I literally told patients that back in 03, 04. I was ignorant. I didn't know better. And now I do know better, and I'm trying to right those wrongs. That's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to turn the tide on the diabetes epidemic in the United States and in the world. Yes, ma'am?
You just shared how fat.
I was almost 300 pounds. Yeah, and I'm a tall guy, so I hope that I carried it pretty well. But no, yeah. And so one morning I was tying my shoes before clinic and literally got short of breath with my foot up in the chair tying my shoes, and I was like, you know what? This is stupid. I'm a doctor. I'm supposed to be the guy that is the expert on the care and feeding of a human being, and my human body sucks. I got dandruff, I got heartburn, I got acne, I got just chronic pain. You know, I get up in the morning, I'm like an old man. What the heck? Who am I? What am I doing here? And I'll just tell you quickly, in my family, the favorite parable to tell is the parable of the preacher who got caught in the bar. You guys know this story? Somebody, yeah, you know this story, Lauren? Okay, so the preacher, well, you know, every Sunday he got up and he was fire and brimstone. You do this, you don't do that. This is how you live. This is what you do. And so one Saturday night, one of the parishioners, for whatever reason, was in the bar and caught the preacher sitting on a bar stool with a beer with a lady of the evening sitting beside him. And he said, preacher, what are you doing? You've told us time and time again this, and this. And here you are, smoking a cigarette, drinking a beer. I don't even know how you know this woman. What's going on? And the preacher said, you do as I say, not as I do. And so from a very young age, that was the parable of how you don't live your life. And so I was not going to be that fat, miserable, sick doctor taking a fistful of pills every day and then advising you on your health. I couldn't do that. That just was incongruous with the way I wanted to live my life. And so that's why I'm here today. That's one of the reasons. Okay? So let's talk about how to stay motivated. And you guys have probably picked up one of the underlying themes of what I do is that the ketogenic way of eating is the natural diet that human beings should eat. It's the diet that we prospered and evolved on for hundreds of thousands of years. And so I want you to understand that the human body is not a sick body. The human body is not an obese body. The human body, there's nothing about you there's nothing wrong with you, okay? What's wrong is that you've slowly poisoned your body for all these years. How can you expect a healthy body if that's what you've been doing to your body, right? And so now we're all in the process of unpoisoning, of removing the poison. So the first thing is I want you to expect health. Expect it. That's what you got to do. That's how you have to think about this. The human body, by definition, is healthy, is active, feels good, is not stiff, is not painful. Those are not natural things, even though we've all maybe had that for a few years, and we've all come to expect that, and we've all been taught, oh yeah, after 40, oh yeah, dude, you're done. After 50, oh, you're really done, right, Lauren? After 50, it's over. Right? Yeah. You could look at Lauren and tell that there's just no life after that. And so that's number one. First and foremost is expect health and give your body what it needs to achieve that health. But more importantly, stop poisoning your body. Some poisons are very fast, like strychnine and arsenic and cyanide. They'll get you, right? Other poisons are very, very slow, and they take years or even decades to end your life, but they make you miserable along the way. Sugar's one of those, right? Grains, that's one of those. Vegetable oils are one of those slow poisons that you can eat it and be like, it didn't really hurt me, I didn't die. But that's a slow poison. And so when you expect health, then you stop doing things that are going to not give you what your expectation is, which is health. I expect to be healthy. There's no reason I shouldn't be healthy. My DNA has been on this planet for 1,000,000 years. Are you telling me that it's so defective that I can't be healthy? No, your DNA has basically been perfected in the fire of evolution over all these millennia. You deserve to be healthy, and you should expect it. That's first and foremost is your mindset. That's very important. Secondly, I like it when you guys mess up. I like it. Okay? Can you guess, Joe, why I like it when you mess up? When you go off plan and eat something stupid? Why do I like that? No, not because you come see me. No, because you get that when you're keto for a while and you've removed so much inflammation. When you eat something stupid, what does your body let you know immediately?
That's
Stupid. That was stupid. And so it's a good feedback mechanism. And so people will message me like, "Oh man, I messed up and I feel terrible." I'm like, "Good."
Stop doing it.
Right. Exactly. That's your body saying, "Hey, dummy, don't do that. I don't like that. It's not good for me, and it's not good for you." So if you don't even sweat messing up, because it's actually a good thing, because you get immediate feedback. Oh, that was dumb. I'm not doing that again. Right? Just like when Nisha and I went to London, we thought, man, I'm about to have some Guinness and some chips and some meat pies, and we ruined our trip to London. And so we will never do that again. Our body gave us immediate feedback, and we were like, oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. So then and that leads directly to my next point is that when there's something in your way, an obstacle's in your path, it's one of two things, and either way you're right. Okay? It's either a stumbling block, or it's a stepping stone. But it's both. Okay? It's both. It's your perception. And so everything that gets in your path, and when I was a younger man, this was not my strategy. Everything was a stumbling block, right? Oh man, now I can't do this, now I can't do that. But no, now everything that happens to me, no matter how adverse, I'm like, now how can I use this? How's this going to make me better? How's this going to make me stronger, right? And so a lot of this is perception. You guys have to look at those obstacles. Those are stepping stones. That just lets you get up on them and see further down the road. That's what that is. Does that make sense? Yeah, absolutely. And so don't be afraid to mess up. And I'm not advocating mess ups. But when you mess up, learn from it. And then add that to your wisdom. Because if you've got a gray hair or two, that means you're supposed to have some wisdom. That's what those mean, right? So, yeah. And then I talked about this the other day. Control what you can. If you can control something, control it. If you can't, then you've got to learn a strategy that works for you to let it go. Right? Because if you're focusing and agonizing over stuff you can't change, you're wasting all your energy. You're wasting all your energy, and you're not helping yourself, and you're not helping your family. You only help your family by fixing the things you can fix and letting the rest go. You have to do that, and that's part of having a successful life and a successful way of eating. Don't focus on weight. How many focus too much? Be honest. Now's your moment of honesty. You focus too much on the damn scales, right? if you know anybody about to start the ketogenic way of eating, I would encourage you to have them check some baseline lab work, right? Measure yourself like you're getting measured for a suit of clothes or a dress. And it's okay to weigh. I think it's okay, but most people don't need to weigh any more often than once a week, especially women, right? Because you guys got that fluid hormonal thing, and there's nothing more frustrating when you've done a good 2 days of your diet and you get on the scale and you've gained 2 pounds. And that's not fat. There's no way you gain 2 pounds of fat in 2 days, but that's what it feels like, and that's very unmotivating. And so weigh once a week, no more often. And some people, I've had a couple people tell me that their spouse had to hide the scale, had to put it out in the garage and then bring it in every Sunday or once a month or whatever. If you have to do a strategy like that, I think that's perfectly fine to do that. But weighing every day, does it help you at all?
No.
So it doesn't help you. So do you see how we're right back to the previous point? You're obsessing about something that's not helping you. So why are you doing that? Stop that. Figure out a strategy that works for your life to stop doing that, okay? Weigh once a week, that's fine. Check your measurements, because very often the scale will say, nope, you haven't made any progress at all, but you've lost 2 inches from your measurements. That's a victory. That's a huge deal. Maybe your measurements haven't changed, but your A1Cs went down 0.3 of a point. It's a huge victory, okay? In my eyes, that's a bigger victory than the scale moving. And so I want you to measure and track lots of things. I want you to check your blood sugar. That's a huge victory if you wake up with a great morning blood sugar, or 2 hours after a meal, your blood sugar is great. I don't care what the scale says. If your blood sugar is good, you're going to get there eventually, right, Lauren? Sometimes it seems like it's never going to happen, but if you keep doing the right things and measuring properly, you're going to be very happy you did ultimately. Okay? I want you to learn why. That's very important. If Joe says, "Hey, you need to eat keto," blah, blah, and you're like, okay, and you just start doing it because Joe said so, that's a recipe for failure. You're going to quit. You're going to stop. But if you keep learning, if you keep watching YouTube videos, if you keep reading blogs and listening to podcasts and learn the why. Why fat? Why this much protein, not that much? Why are carbs so bad? Why? What about grains? Exactly why. Why? Because somebody's going to ask you, and if you don't know, you're going to be like, I don't know. And then you're going to be like, well, gosh, I don't even really have any foundation that I'm standing on here. It's just an opinion. You want to know the facts. The facts will take you home, okay? There's a new podcast, Joe Rogan, Dr. Kahn and Chris Kresser had a debate, 3 hours long, and Kresser knew his facts. He knew the why, and he mopped the floor with Dr. Kahn, okay? Who's a vegetable vegan cardiologist who says that cholesterol is bad for you and saturated fat is the devil. And Kresser mopped the floor with him because he knew the why. You got to know your why. That's going to keep you motivated, but it's also going to help you wake up other people and motivate them. And motivating other people, as you might be discovering, is also very motivating for you, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Okay, and so next you're going to build a team. This can be your mama. This can be your spouse. This can be your next door neighbor. It can be Jimmy Moore. It can be me. You get to build your own team, okay? But this is not a journey you want to take on your own for 2 reasons. First of all, you don't get as much out of it if you're by yourself. And secondly, you get to help other people. And actually you get to be a motivator, and you get to be a stepping stone for other people instead of a stumbling block, right? Because nobody likes somebody who's preachy and who's judgmental. Nobody likes that. Nobody wants that. But if you're helping other people, you're also helping yourself. So build that team, okay? Because one of the beautiful things about having a team is you get to hear their success stories as well, don't you? Now, I love Lauren's story. This is a beautiful story, or what? But there's all kinds of success stories in here. Let's hear one. Who wants to? Linda, stand up. I want to know where you came from to where you are now. You guys listen to this. This is pretty cool.
I was 85 pounds heavier. I was actually on a
Give her the mic.
I was 85 pounds heavier, and I was actually on a cruise, and a couple at my dining table were on keto and had showed before and after pictures and told me about their health, and they were very lovingly shared what he just said, to be a team, and they helped me start on it right then on that cruise. I have systemic lupus, and I also have Epstein-Barr, and I was so tired all the time. You know, your joints all hurt, and I had thyroid cancer. I just felt miserable, but I feel good. And yesterday, I had a non-scale victory. I went on the zip line. I would have, as a heavy person, I would have never ever, oh, I'm still heavy, but I mean, I'm a healthy person now. And I would have never even considered that. Well, stop. But anyway.
That's the team. Did you hear the team?
Yeah, that's my team.
That's the team.
But it's changed my outlook. You know, I get to be a fun Nana instead of a out of shape mama that I was for my babies. So that's my story.
The older I get, the more I think that being a fun, active grandparent, that's probably a pretty cool thing to be.
It is. It's a cool thing.
Is it? Yeah. Yeah. Instead of the grandparent the kids have to go to the nursing home to see because you had the stroke and you. Yeah. So I love that. That's awesome. All right. So, and then we celebrate victories. That's the ultimate way you stay motivated, is by hearing these victories from your teammates, right? And when you hear that, that's very motivating to you. You might be a little envious. You might be like, well, I want a story that good. Well, okay, keep going down the road. It's down there, I promise, because it sure ain't the other way. It's not back there where you came from, is it? That's not where it is. It's down the road, this journey we're all taking together. And so celebrate each other's victories, and don't be shy about your victories. You guys got to share those with other people. And sharing in a loving, open way, like the couple shared with Linda, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. You lead by quiet example, and then when somebody asks, you're happy to help them out, right? So you're saying, Linda, you didn't hear about this from the American Diabetes Association? It's not. Lauren, you heard about it from the American Heart Association, is that right? Yeah. So you see, guys, we got nobody at the top that's going to help.
I forgot to say, now I get to educate my endocrinologist.
Yeah. Another non-scale victory is getting to teach your doctor how to be a good doctor. Yeah, absolutely. Because there are a lot of docs are primed and ready because they know keto's getting big. They know that's happening, but they don't really understand it, and none of their peers are talking about it in any positive way. I can just tell you that. At the medical board meetings and the medical society meetings, nobody's saying, dude, you should look into keto. It's a big deal. They're not saying that, right? If anything, it's negative. And so you got these doctors are like mountain lions out in the wilderness. We get on our little mountain and we want everybody to leave us alone. Let us do what we do. And so that's good in that you're an individual and you're taking charge and taking leadership, but it's bad because you don't have any sounding boards very often to bounce ideas off anybody. And you imagine another doctor saying, hey, doc, what do you think about keto? That's probably not going to go well. You're going to, I mean, he could even be judged by, what the hell's wrong with you? Keto, what did you fall and hit your head? Okay? And so when the first Linda goes to her endocrinologist and says, keto's really gave me all these victories, the first Linda, he's going to judge her as a kook, isn't he? She's nuts, whatever, right? But what about when the 10th Linda tells him about the benefits of keto? What about when the 100th Linda tells him about the benefits of keto? He's going to be like, I got to Google keto. What is this? Who's this Maria Emery? What is this? Right? Who's Jimmy Moore? It's like, who is John Galt? And so, where's Waldo? Yeah, maybe. But that's what I'm telling you. You want to be that 100th Linda to ask your doctor, what keto, look what it's done for me. Because at some point, all doctors used to be very intelligent, inquisitive, curious students. We had to be to become doctors, right? I talk about that in the book. You can't go to med school if you're lazy and bored with everything. You can't. You'll fail immediately. You have to be eager to learn, and you have to be a student and curious. There's that little young doctor still in your doctor somewhere, way down in there, right? But when the 100th person, the 100th Linda says, man, keto saved my life, you're going to awaken that curiosity, and he's going to Google it, and he's going to look, and he's going to watch some YouTube videos, and then he's going to be on board. And then you just helped not just one person, Linda, you helped every patient he has, didn't you? How powerful is that? Yes, ma'am.
And your doctor may not convey to you that they're proud that they did that, but my doctor last Friday before I got on the cruise, when I left, she came out and told all the staff. It just happens that I had a friend who was a member of her staff, but my friend didn't recognize me when I checked in. But when the doctor bragged about me, she sent me a little Facebook message and said, wow, she's into keto now. She asked me to explain it to her. So your doctor may not convey to you and say, yeah, I'm starting to get this.
Yeah.
But they may be starting to get it. And then, like he said, the next person will get it.
Wonder how many patients that endocrinologist cares for? Hundreds. And you have had a direct impact on all those hundreds of people's lives, Linda. Huh? That's pretty cool, right? That's pretty awesome. Any questions, guys? Yes, ma'am.
So how long have you been keto, and what inspired you, to change your ways?
So I was fat, miserable, pre-diabetic, about to have to start metformin, about to have to start a statin, because back then in 03 I believed in them. And I said, I can't do that. I can't. And so my journey is a lot like a lot of people in keto. I started out with paleo primal because I was like, that's real food, right? That makes sense, yeah. So I did that, and I got some benefits out of that. But after a certain point, the benefits I was maxed out with paleo primal. And so then I said, well, and in my opinion, the ketogenic way of eating is a subset of paleo. And why all the paleo people have such trouble with keto, I have no idea, because it's just a subset of paleo. I believe probably 100,000 years ago, if you lived right at the equator on this island here that we were just at, you probably ate paleo most of the year. Because there's always some mango or some guava or some whatever, right? And so I think a large percentage of our ancestors ate paleo. I still believe that. But I think that also a large population of our ancestors lived in the very northern climates, right? In Scandinavia, in Scotland, in Ireland, or in the very southern where it's cold. You only have 1 month out of the year where green stuff grows, or 2 months out of the year. They didn't eat paleo for 10 months out of the year. What did they eat?
Carnivore meat.
They ate keto. And I believe that carnivore is a subset of keto. That makes perfect sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're eating essentially zero carbs, you don't have to worry about the protein as much, because you're not going to get the gluconeogenesis if you're eating super low carbs. And so within paleo is keto, and within keto is carnivore. And carnivore may not be for you, and that's okay, but keto is. I can guarantee you that, right? And so any other questions, guys? Yes, sir, Lauren.
Comment on the doctor business. I said that my nephrologist is referring patients. As a matter of fact, Dr. Nally told me he came over after making an appointment one evening. They spent 3 hours going through the diet and whatnot, how. On the other hand, my oncologist, I'm the #1 guy who's talked to her, and she does not want to hear it. I put it out there. She's happy about my weight loss. We've agreed not to talk about it. Don't ruin a relationship with a good doctor by insisting on the keto.
Yeah.
Definitely bring it up.
Yeah, bring it up. Don't be preachy. But if you're not the 100th Lauren, you're not gonna flip that doctor, right? If you're the first Lauren or the 10th Lauren, they're gonna just be like, I keep hearing about this keto crap. What is this? And so you're not the 100th Lauren in that situation, but somebody's gonna be, right? But you still played your part. And when the 100th Lauren comes along for that oncologist, they're going to be like, I've had it with this. I'm going to look this keto crap up. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it's beautiful. But operating under a false paradigm, that's what most doctors are doing these days, right? Just like back when the world was flat. But none of us remember that because we all grew up under the paradigm the world's round. So it makes perfect sense to us. But can you put yourself back in time and think if you're just a peasant, right? 2,000 years ago, you were like, yeah, the world's flat, of course. It says it in Scripture. Look at it, it's flat. You throw things up, it comes down. It wouldn't. It can't be a ball, right? But you were wrong. But everybody knew that was right. That's a paradigm, right? And so this doctor's still operating under the paradigm of eat lots of whole grains, keep your saturated fat low, and that makes sense to him or her right now. But when you've had enough people come along and say, yeah, that's dumb, doc, I had great benefits doing it this way, that's going to make that doctor question their paradigm. And when that happens, as we say, you can't unhear the bell once you've heard the bell ring. And once you've heard the 100th Lauren, their story, you're going to be like, okay, fine, let me look this up and see what this is all about. Because obviously, there's not all these people aren't nuts, Maybe the first Lauren was nuts, but not the 100th Lauren. There's something going on here. I need to know about this. Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to know your personal definition of all stuff for me, because I'm kind of trying to get this in my brain. So for you, you would say that low carb is about how many carbs, keto for you of what you eat individually, but what you also pretty much recommend to your patients is about how many carbs, and then carnivore is like no carbs. I'm assuming.
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, that's pretty close.
So low carb would be about what carb?
For most people, 20 grams a day of total carbs is really an ideal place to be. There are some people who can stay under 50 total grams and do okay, do fine. But if you have certain kinds of metabolisms, if you have insulin resistance, like Jimmy and I do, 50 grams of carbs, I'd be looking for my old fat boy pants in about 3 months. I'd be having to get those if we still got them. I think Nisha threw them away. But I would be looking for my fat boy pants. I'd have to have those back if I ate that many grams of carbs. So I think I eat less than 5 grams a day on a daily basis. Yeah. And I'm 95, 97% carnivore. Basically, I'll have some green stuff as garnish or as like a spice, or just for a savory flavoring. But as far as eating a big plate of veg, I've eaten more vegetables on this trip than I've eaten in over a year. Yeah, and the extent of that is a little broccoli and a little asparagus. For me, that's a lot of veggies.
So you recommend to your patient environment like 20 carbs or less.
Yeah.
Keto. And
For almost,
then-
that's a great place to start. And then if you think you need more, I'm fine. If you want to eat 30 grams total carbs a day, is that still not a victory?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Am I going to argue with them on that? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It's great. Yeah, because they already know. They've heard the bell, and so if 30 don't get it, they're going to tighten up, aren't they? They're going to bring it on in some more. Yeah.
I'm slightly confused too, because when I try to be carnivore, I want to put a huge steak on my plate, and I do like veggies, but if I'm going to ignore the veggies, then I eat more protein, okay? So, but now I'm reading that if I eat more protein than my body needs, that turns to carbs or so.
Yeah, excellent.
Can you touch on that?
So, and we were taught earlier on in this journey, all of us thought that if you eat too many grams of protein, you're going to initiate gluconeogenesis and make all this glucose, right? And so if you're still eating 50 or more grams of total carbs a day, you will do that. But Dr. Ben Bickman, write that down, Bikman, he has an excellent lecture on a YouTube video about how if you're eating super low carb, the protein is not going to meaningfully raise your insulin or your blood sugar in any way, right? And so that's why I tell people, if you're eating zero carb, don't even worry about the protein. Now you want to try to eat a 1-to-1 fat to protein ratio, not of calories but of grams. And so if you get a steak, you want the fattiest cut you can find, right? And then you're going to put some butter on top of that probably. And I always, if I cook them indoors, I'll put some bacon grease in the skillet in the oven with the steak. And so you want to up the good healthy fats as much as you can, and you want to try to get to a 1-to-1 ratio. At least that's where I feel best. But now if you talk to Dr. Ted Naiman, who's a very intelligent guy, he disagrees. He thinks you should have more protein than fat. And I think maybe for some people that's okay. Maybe that works for some people. But for me, that does not work because I don't enjoy that diet. I think chicken breast is skinless and boneless is the devil. I don't miss it at all, okay? I want chicken legs with the skin on. That to me that's a lean meat for me, okay? So I'm a pork chop, ribeye, T-bone, baby back ribs, dried. That's what I live on right now, and I do very well on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so if you're eating higher carbs, then you need to watch your protein count. But when you get your carb count down very, very low, you don't have to worry about eating too much protein. You agree with that, Marina?
Amen.
Yeah. And I think if you just eat too much protein, you're not going to hurt your kidneys, but it's going to make your meal very challenging. And anybody tried to stuff down 3 or 4 boneless, dry chicken breasts, skinless? I mean, that's torture. No.
Yes, I did actually during the high protein.
It was terrible, wasn't it?
experiment. It was horrible.
It was horrible. Right? Exactly. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. We eat grass-fed beef and pasture-raised chicken. They don't have a lot of fat in them. How much fat should I be adding to that meat per ounce?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really go by specifics. Just add some butter, and if that's not enough, add some more. Yeah, go to taste. Right.
And your society, I would think.
And then after you eat your pastured chicken, which is great, I'm glad you're doing that. And pastured eggs, man, that's where it's at. But then if you're still hungry, add more fat. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple of questions. The first is, the other day you mentioned signs of insulin resistant skin tags and dark colored skin. Are there any other sort of like glaring physical signs?
Yeah, there's a ton of them. The most important one is your waist to height ratio. And if everybody in this room hasn't measured that, you need to, because that's a huge, that is the biggest indicator that you're probably insulin resistant. If it's above 0.5, then you're at least some degree insulin resistant, okay? And then when you go see your doc, get more than just the regular annual blood work. Get an A1C and a C-peptide, and plus or minus a fasting insulin, and that's going to tell you without a doubt. Then you don't have to worry about, is that a tag or a mole? You don't have to worry about that, because you know what your C-peptide is, and you know what your A1C is, and then you know for a fact. And so the physical signs, like skin tags, like acanthosis nigricans, like being round in the middle, those things you can use until you get to your doctor, right? But when you check a waist to height ratio and it's above 0.5, you're insulin resistant. The end. Yes.
If we don't have time for any more questions, I'm sorry. Save it for the Q&A, because we're way off of motivation on your ketogenic diet. We're way off of that. We're going to have a whole time with this man and John Lemansky for this afternoon, so let's save those.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.